What's your ancestry?
According to my grandparents, they all look like short, slanty eyes, and I asked them why I look like that. So they told me that their great-grandparents came from an island called Sumatra, Bugis. And so their grandparents were all enslaved people. From my father's side was Indian again, but from my mother's side was totally Indonesian. That time it was known as the Dutch East Company.
Dutch East Indian Company.
Indian Company, that's correct. Up till 1834 we were set free.
So it's the Dutch that actually brought us.
The Dutch brought us here, and my grandparents never wanted me to speak English. They said that I must speak Dutch, Hollands, Netherlands. But then Afrikaans was developed. So they spoke High Dutch, 1900, they spoke very High Dutch. Before the Boerenoorlog, the war, they spoke Dutch. Then it became Afrikaans. And you must remember the Muslim community, or the Malay community, if I may use that term, was very, very sophisticated in their work. They were tailors, they brought us their skills over here. We were not settlers, we were not immigrants, and we were not refugees. We were brought in chains. Chains. So we would not steal the land from the Khoisan or the blacks. But we brought our skills with, and we brought our customs with, and we brought our religion with. Tailors, bricklayers, carpenters. So we in the Western Cape developed South Africa. And some of our people went up to Port Elizabeth as fishermen. Some went up to Johannesburg. So we spread our skills throughout South Africa. So we're the soil of the Western Cape. They speak Afrikaans, they sing, they read English, they sing Dutch, and they recite Arabic. Can you ever see this uniqueness in the Malay community especially? And they also sort of developed the Afrikaans language. The Afrikaans language never belonged to the Afrikaner. It started the interdistrict in the Boerkaap. So we've been here for over 300 years. And we haven't, I would say, that we actually still kept our religion up till today. 335 years or 340 years ago. So we are the soil of the Western Cape. With the Khoisan, with those people who came here. And you cannot tell you what happened. When the Malay slaves revolted against the Dutch, some of our Karamas, our saints, and they were protected by the Khoisan. That's why we find them at Cape Point. And you can see all the shrines here. They were royalty. These slaves that came here, these saints were royalty. Prince Sheikh Yusuf. I don't know where, maybe I got the dash of that royalty, I'm not sure. So we as the Malay people of Cape Town, we were isolated for centuries. And when the system of apartheid came in, we were more isolated. But we kept the flag flying. And by the way, we were also very active in politics. Dr. Abdul Rahman, Sisi Gul, they were all active Muslims in the political scenarios here in the Western Cape. And during the last riots, we were very active, like myself. But I want to speak about myself. Any other question?
Can you just tell me, so you're saying that the people that came here were royalty in Indonesia?
Yeah.
So they were really political prisoners?
Prisoners, they were prisoners and political exiles.
Political exiles.
And they were enslaved by the Dutch.
Okay.
And the Dutch liked them because they didn't drink, they were honest people. And they taught the Quran to my guru on the quarry up there. So they were very highly civilized cultural people. But they kept the Islamic flag going. That's why we are still sitting here after 300 years. That was so marvelous about these people. Absolutely marvelous.
Could you just go through the question about District 6 now?
Well, District 6, one thing I love, funny enough, Sulaiman, I always think about my days in District 6. I was born in 1935, 31st of January, 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. My mother was there. When I was born, my mother was there. So what happened is that I love District 6. As you can see, you can take the people out of District 6, but you can't take the spirit of District 6 out of the people. District 6 was very cosmopolitan. And what I loved about it, the people in District 6 interacted with one another. The Christian, the Jew, the Hindu and the Muslims. The church was next to the mosque or opposite the mosque. And it was total, absolute tolerance. Not even tolerance, we just were neighbors. And for years, you know, we did that was more for working class people. The vendors selling vegetables. And also we had our doctors, Dr. Abrams, Dr. Safina, Dr. Ibrahim, Dr. Gul. Those were doctors. They look after the community. And our teachers. And of course the gangsters. District 6 was not a heaven, but it was a heaven for me. There was music, we had our sad times. And by the way, as a Muslim, I went to church schools. That's why I could say, Our Father art in heaven. And my favorite hymn was, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures big and small, all things wise and wonderful. The Lord God made them all. And believe it or not, May, there were sometimes more Muslim in the mission. And we just loved it. And our grandparents were asking us, how was church today? No! This half about Islamophobia. It was just one natural communing, living together. Now let me tell you something. Father Basil, who was with me in the struggle for District 6, when Butachim at the Muir Street Mosque gave the call, then he would get up in the morning and say, if that man can call people to God, why must I sleeping? Another incident, next to Muir Street Mosque was the Salvation Army barracks. And they used to play the band, you know, singing hymns. And you know what happened? When the evening prayers come and the muazzin called people to the mosque, they will stop the music. And they say, stop the music. The people are going to pray. And I don't think you will find that anywhere in this world, not even on Mars. Our foods, the Coon Carnival every year, we just sit where your grandparents, your father lived. That whole of Hanover Street, there were pickle fish, sisters, anything. It was merry, it was a carnival situation, there was no robbery. And let me tell you about the gangsters. The gangsters never robbed people. Our gangsters of yesteryear were gentlemen compared with these things we have in the township. They look after the community. When my grandmother used to go to town to pay accounts with the electricity department, she would tell somebody, look after my house. Nobody goes in nearby. Today we live like a lot of prisoners. We think sometimes we're in jail. And that's what I love about District 6. We had very little, but we did a lot with it. Not today, they got a lot of education, but they're not educated. They can have degrees more than a thermometer. That does mean education. And there were people with strange names like Panana Pai, Chapang, and everybody knew them. It was this total integration of everyone in the melting pot. And let me tell you this too. As a Muslim, when a Christian dies, he has got money to be buried. Then we will collect money for his burial. That was the beauty. And you know, May, I certainly miss those days. Technology, yes. Two people I loved in those days. It was we were philosophers. Streetwise. Today we got philosophers. And that's what made us human too. I went to London, I went to Malaysia, I went to Mecca, and you can see a person who comes from District 6. He had that humanity in him. We were never isolated. When somebody was sick, when your mother gave birth, you find 10, 12 neighbors come and do your washing your house, and don't dare give them money. It's an insult to give any person in District 6 money. Because they will tell you, wait, I don't want your money, you're my neighbor. Then they moved us out in 1966, February 1966, when the air was declared white. So the descendants to this soulless dunes are there. We can see people living. We lost that touch. You can take the people out of District 6, but you can't take the spirit of District 6 out of people. My sister-in-law died 2 weeks ago, and I went to work in the town. I went to the township. I wouldn't like to live there.
What's the name of the township?
Parkwood Estate. There's nothing for the people. There's no motivation. When District 6 we had motivation. We had to. With the system of apartheid. Some of us left the country, others went to night schools, others became professionals. So this is what actually happened in the area.
Just tell us, which areas did people move to when they moved?
Oh, they moved to Bonteheuwel, Hanover Park, Tahir, and Mitchellspring is big. So what we did was, we started the District 6 movement, the 3 R's, ratepayers, rents and residents. I was one of the executive. And we were visited by the security police. Father Basil died, Nancy Brown died. Then we had Hands of District 6. And that was hectic, 1986. That was 1986. Then we started the movement going back to District 6. And when Mandela came out in 1990, they gave the area back, which I would take it there, now you can see it.
Just tell us some of the political things that happened in the 70s, the 60s.
Oh, the 70s I was very active in. I remember I was shot at in the Ramadan, outside the receiver of revenue. I broke my fast with tear gas. I remember that day vividly. And then, of course, I lost my job. This is never done that. Then I started to organize against the system of apartheid. The civic movements, the MYM, the PAC. And we started to move. The
MYM?
And the Muslim Youth. Your father was our treasurer. So we were very active Muslims in Cape Town, combined with all the other progressive political progressive organizations.
We spoke to Sadiq Isaacs last night.
Yes, I met him. Yeah.
So can you just give us some context?
Oh, he was, he and Ahmad Qasim and Mani, they were arrested, they caught them with bombs, right here. They would blow up this place here. So there was a lot of militancy in my youth. You know, we had an organization called, we were about throughout the peninsula, 7,000 youth, predominantly Muslim, to fight for the freedom of this, for the people of this country. Some of us were shot dead. Some of us were shot dead. Some of us were arrested. I was arrested in 1964, on the 3rd of July, a day before your American Independence Day. They came to fetch me, the Gestapo. They took me down to the police station.
Just mention some names, Spyker van Wyk and...
Spyker van Wyk, Genis. That's why I spoke on Imam Harun's gathering last 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I asked you, why is it these people arrested? So this is what happened. They were vicious, they were cruel, they had no humanity in them.